Hello everyone, welcome to Smartland Kenya YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe and share for you to learn junior school STEM. So this is a NAC school-based assessment, Integrated Science Grade 7, 2024. Let's go straight to the questions. In a science laboratory, there are several possible causes of accidents. It's therefore important to always observe safety in the laboratory. During a discussion on safety in a science laboratory, learners listed the following as possible causes of accidents. So we have number 1, sharp objects, number 2, corrosive substance, number 3, radioactive materials. So the question, take the likely cause of burns. We have 3 causes of accidents, but they want the one that can cause a burn. Clearly is corrosive substance. So you take, because the question says take. Corrosive substances include things like acids. We have strong acids such as sulfuric acid, among many more others. So the next question, the diagram below shows an instrument used to measure a certain laboratory quantity in hospitals. So that's an instrument. It's written on it that 6.6 degrees Celsius. So identify the instrument. So because the unit is at 6.6 degrees Celsius, which is unit for temperature, automatically the thermometer, automatically the instrument becomes a thermometer. So you can just write there, thermometer, like that, and thank you. The next question, state whether the quantity measured by the instrument is derived or basic. So there are 2 types of quantity. We have derived quantities, which can be gotten from other quantities, and basic quantities, which cannot be gotten from any other quantities, because they are agreed upon quantities by the International System of Units. So thermometer measures temperature, which is a basic quantity. So I'll just write basic quantity as the answer. So the next question, write the SI unit of the physical quantity measured by the instrument. So the thermometer measures temperature. So temperature, the SI unit of temperature is Kelvin. Remember, temperature is among the 7 basic quantities that were agreed upon in Paris. So the next question, mixtures are 2 or more substances physically combined, which is true. Learners identified different mixtures and categorized them into 2, as shown in the table below. So the first category is salt solution, which is a mixture of salt and water. The second category is sand and iron, of course, which is a mixture of sand and iron as it's written. So identify the type of mixtures. So there are 2 types of mixtures. We have homogeneous mixtures, which form a uniform substance, and heterogeneous mixtures, which when 2 substances are mixed, they form an uniform mixture. So salt solution is a mixture of water and salt, which is uniform. So we'll say it is homo. Homo means 1. Homogeneous mixture. And sand and ion filling is heterogeneous, of course, mixtures. So from there, we go to the next question, which is part B. Name the method that can be used to separate the components in the mixture in category 1. So category 1 is salt solution, which is a mixture of salt and water. So we're supposed to look for a method which will help us recover salt and water separately, because we're supposed to look for a method that can help us to recover salt and water separately, which is simple distillation, which is simple distillation. Category 2 is a mixture of sand and iron filings. So what method can they use? Remember, the two are solid mixtures, and what will guide us is iron filings. Remember, iron filings are magnetic materials, so we can basically use a magnet. So the method is use of a magnet. The method is use of a magnet as a method of separating mixture. Use of a magnet. So we'll continue. The next question: learners were provided with colored flours to prepare an acid-base indicator. However, the learners did not have a suitable solvent. Describe an alternative method that learners could have used to prepare the indicator. So when preparing a flour extract indicator, there are solvents that are used, and these solvents include propanol. You can use ethanol, methanol, among many other solvents. But here the question says the solvent was not there. So what is the alternative method that they can use? So if the solvent is not there, what we go to is water. We use water as our solvent. So I'll just give the answers. So first of all, because they've said describe, we need to put them step by step till we finish. We need to put them points step by step till we reach the end. So the first step is crush the flour using a mortar and using a mortar and a pestle. That's the first step. The second step, add little water. Little by little while crushing. So you add water little by little while crushing. Add water little by little while crushing. After that, after adding water little by little, filter. The mixture. Filter the mixture of water and crushed flours The filtrate collected. The filtrate is the acid base indicator. The filtrate is the acid base indicator. ready for use. Ready for use. Crush the flour using a mortar and a pestle. Add water little by little while crushing. Filter the mixture of water and the crushed flours. The filtrate, which is the liquid collected after filtration, is the acid-base indicator, ready for use. That's the alternative method that you could use. So the next question, which is on reproduction, it says, during a lesson on parts and functions of human reproductive system, learners listed parts and functions of the human male reproductive system. Match the listed parts with their function. So the first part was the urethra. The second part was the testis, which is in plural. So what are the functions? We have produces urine. We have passes sperms out of the body. We have produces ova and produces semen. What are they saying? They're saying us to match the listed part with their functions. So we know very well the kidney is the part of the urinary tract system that produces urine. So that's not the function of either the urethra or the testis. Passes out sperms. That is the function of the testis, of the urethra. You match it like that. Produces ova, which is an egg, is produced by the ovaries, and that's not what we need. Then finally, testis produces semen. That's how you match and get your 2 marks. So the next question says, during a science project, learners made a model of the urinary system as shown in the picture. So let's see the model. That's the model of the urinary system. And it has parts H, J, K, and L as shown there. So the questions. Name the parts of the urinary system represented by. So this is the model of the urinary system. So R represents the kidneys, J represents the ureters, and K represents the urinary bladder, and finally L represents the urethra. If you clearly know the parts of the urinary system, this is just but a model. So we shall start by H, which is the kidneys. So we shall just write the answer. Kidneys. Just remember there are 2, so you have to write them in plural. Number 2, J, is what we call the ureters, because there are also 2, so you need to write in plural. Ureters. Suppose it was 1, you write in singular. The next one, which is K, is the urinary bladder. You can just write bladder, or you can write urinary bladder. It depends. Then last but not least, we have what we call the urethra, which is the part that allows urine to get outside of the body. The next question talks about changes that take place in adolescence. So I'll read the question. That's question 7. Adolescence is a phase of growth and development between childhood and adulthood. During adolescence, physical changes occur in both boys and girls. Some of the changes are only in boys, others occur only in girls, while others are common in both boys and girls, which is very true. Using lines match the boys and girls with changes they experience during adolescence. So we have one side, which is the left-hand side. We have girls, then boys. Then the changes have growth of beards, voice becoming sharp, and enlargement of breasts. So clearly, beards are for the boys, which are for the male child. So much like that. Then girls, of course, there is enlargement of breasts, and at the same time there is the voice becoming sharp. So from there you get your 3 marks. So you can go and learn more about changes that take place in both boys and girls and boys during adolescence. So the next question, which I think is the second last question, which is question 8, says that the following diagram shows a light bulb and a battery in an electrical circuit. Remember, an electrical circuit is the part taken by the electricity from the terminal, from one point of the terminal to another. So as you can see, we have, this is the bulb, this is the bulb, this is of course is the cell, you can call it dry cell or battery, and you have a gap between point 1 and 2. This is just a gap. So which of the two materials objects in the diagram below, when connected in points 1 and 2, will make the bulb light? They want an object that when placed between point 1 and 2, the bulb will light. So that means that that object should be a good conductor of electricity. So we have a plastic bag and we have a steel nail. So automatically, plastic is not a good conductor of electricity, so we'll go with the steel nail. So the question, let me read the question again. Which of the two objects? So the object is the steel nail. Steel nail. That's the object. I can just underline like that. So the next one, give reason for your answer. Reason is because it is a good conductor of electricity. Conductor of electricity. Because it's a good conductor of electricity. The next question, which is the last question, is on magnetism. So the figure below shows two cuts. We have, of course, this is cut 1. Then we have this one, which is, let's say, cut 2. Each holding a magnet. The cuts were moving closer together and left freely. Using the diagram, describe what could have happened to the charts. The question is using the diagram. So this question is testing on the basic law of magnetism. It's testing on the basic law of magnetism, which says basic law of magnetism. It's testing on basic law of magnetism, which says like poles repel, comma, unlike attract. Is testing on the basic law of magnetism. Like poles, the ones that look similar, they repel each other, and like attract. So the question says, using the diagram, describe what could have happened. So remember, these are like poles, not and not, they are similar. So automatically they will repel. This one will face that direction, and that one will face in that direction, because the question says using the diagram. So what will happen? The two cuts move away from each other. The two cuts move away from each other. So you'll get 1 mark for the description and 1 mark for showing the arrows in the diagram, because the question says using the diagram. So that's School-Based Assessment 2024 Integrated Science. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for joining our lesson today. Welcome.